or whatever it is you do, we'll start the meeting back up again. Brad, you're next on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, we were asked by George with some conversations to have a presentation put together to talk a little bit about managed services. As you know, we've got the managed print services contract that covers printers and copiers within the county. But in our industry, that technology is kind of integrating both ways with IT services, backup services, disaster recovery plans, and so forth. And our company several months ago bought a computer company that had been in business for 24 years. We thought it was more prudent to look to an acquisition than to try and start from scratch. And you know, through some of the things that we have to deal with in conjunction with IT, we saw some things that maybe we needed to have a discussion with commissioners about. Just to make sure that the county is aware of some things that are changing in the IT industry, and maybe some things that we might be able to help or augment either with your existing IT services or as the contract comes up, maybe we look at more. Mike LeBounty is our director of Managed Print Services. Also with us today is Mark Sandberg, who's the general manager over the Fort Wayne and South Bend regions, and be able to answer any questions after Mike's presentation. So I'm going to turn this over to Mike LeBounty.
Okay. All right. As Brad said, we do a managed print services contract with you, which now sort of brings to the number 3 of different IT providers you're dealing with for some segment of your IT needs. I believe the sheriffs, prosecutors, and the jail use one IT company. The rest of the county use another IT company, and then we manage all the printers. So we started, as part of our quarterly review process, we use that opportunity to inform customers about new offerings and that sort of thing. And as Brad mentioned, we bought an IT company because our customers in managed print were saying to us, hey, we would like for you to be able to help us with help desk calls, and then that led us down the road of being able to offer a network operations center where we could have an overview of people's networks and 24/7 monitoring of uptime and that sort of thing. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about an introduction of you know, what our company is as far as who we acquired and the expertise we have. Talk a little bit about the challenges, and some of them were voiced when we talked with George about not really having a lot of visibility to what's going on with IT. You know, what is your backup plan? What is disaster recovery? How many days would you be down? That sort of thing. And then just give a real basic understanding to you what managed services means in IT. Either an internal person or external people that you contract with. We're going to talk a little bit, high-level overview of some problems with a traditional approach, a detail of a proactive solution and the benefits associated with that, and then we can open up to questions, that sort of thing. So we bought a company that was in business 24 years. We focus on 25 to 250 user networks, so it's in that small to medium business marketplace, and we currently manage thousands of devices through our remote network operations center. We have what we call care plans, which we kind of allow people to dip out as much technology and help as they need based on their situation. Some of our customers, we do project work, where we come in, we do a job, and we get out. Other customers, we're their entire IT staff. We are their company. We do business continuity and disaster recovery planning, which is something that we met shortly after Sandy had hit out in New Jersey, and you start to think about the what-ifs of if something happened, how would you get your data back? We also do on-site network, on-site services for customers. We do help desk support, network management. All of those things We provide at varying levels depending on what our customers' needs are. The IT challenges, downtime may or may not be an issue depending on the function of the staff that are affected. You know, people in the highway department obviously probably not as important as somebody that's in the auditor's office. But you know, the one thing that we talk about with George is kind of a lack of strategic planning. We've gotten to the point now where technology shouldn't happen to you. There should be some sight and some planning put on where are we today and where are we going to go. You know, the next time an upgrade comes, do we really want to buy a server, or could we possibly just use software that's somewhere up in the cloud and then make those types of decisions, which can cut down on your spend as far as hardware. And then the other thing that really everybody's up against the wall with is risk and exposure. You know, is the network secure? Who has access to different parts of it? Being able to take a look at what sort of threats are coming in. And then, you know, some other strategic issues. Do you have things that you could optimize? You have a server that's underutilized that we could use for other things. So those are some challenges most people run into. As far as managed services and giving you an idea of what that looks like, and like I mentioned, there can be the client who has either somebody on site or somebody that they contract, and in the beginning it looks like a one-to-one relationship. Like I have a client and I'm going to deal with this guy and he's going to handle all my issues. Well, in reality, what you have is you have all of the end users, department heads with their issues, and then you have the client with their issues, all of the end users who actually have to use the technology that has been planned for them by somebody else. And the issue that brings up is not only are you dealing with them, they all have disparate needs. They all have different programs, servers that have to run certain things, which then ends up sort of overwhelming your guy. If you have a guy, he kind of gets overwhelmed with that. So our response to that, and what you get with a company like ours, is we have a lot of manpower associated with our company. So you're not getting a person, you're getting a team of people with different levels of experience, but we have a lot of high-end people, we have some low-end people. We use technology. A network operations center, we have 24/7 monitoring of people's networks. So I can actually see if your server is going to go down because a disk drive is full. And I can handle that before it becomes an issue. Our help desk, we have the ability to call up and get help desk support for office applications, network issues, anything like that. And our remote people can actually remote into your desktop and make changes and fixes without having to get on the road and come walk to your office and sit down and try to fix it. Our ticketing system allows us to close out tickets so that you understand that, hey, this issue was taken care of. We have a knowledge base so that everybody on our team can tell what's wrong with your network. And then finally, we have what we call a virtual CIO, which sits with you on a quarterly basis, just like our quarterly reviews for the managed print, and talks to you about where are you at. We build what we call a roadmap. And we say, okay, where are you at today, based on your technology? Where are you going to be, and what's the best choice? Is it an on-site premises-based solution, or is it something that may be more cloud-based and more functional across the entire county? You know, the main issue, I think, with traditional IT services where you have a guy who handles everything, number one, the person is intimately familiar with your network, but doesn't get a lot of vision to what's going on outside in the world. So you kind of get caught up in this, you know, there's no fix for this, or we have to make do with something because they don't know that there's other things out there that can do that. Because we work with multiple businesses, multiple not-for-profits, government agencies, you know, we see real-world solutions all the time. Our solution is very much proactive because we have this ability to monitor and look at your network all the time you're not going to have downtime. We can do fast diagnosis, and there's greater transparency. Right now, from my conversation with George, it seems like you guys don't have a whole lot of insight as to what's happening on the other side of that curtain. And our solution is very, very transparent so that you understand, hey, here's an issue, or here's something that may be an issue down the road, and we get an opportunity to plan for it and proactively handle that. Also, we do a lot of strategic planning through our review process, which is something that you currently enjoy with the managed print. The benefits, it's more secure, less downtime, you get more bang for your buck because we can look at it as a whole and try to make recommendations. Like I said, if there's a server that has excess capacity, and almost every server does, if there's somebody else that has a need, can we somehow incorporate that in and use that hardware and use that bandwidth? As far as how it works, I won't get too far into detail there because I know that time is somewhat of a factor, but you know, our network operations center is really the backbone. We literally, it will send us alerts if there's something wrong, if there's patch management isn't handled correctly, or if somebody doesn't approve a patch. We can force that to happen so that it keeps your network secure. It has the ability to do some self-healing applications where, as far as backup, we can monitor backup. Not only can we see if the backup went through, we can also spin up a server and test to see if you're actually backing up the things you're supposed to be backing up. And because that's one of the things that kind of falls through the cracks. People kind of set and forget their backup. But in our program, we actually bring it up a couple times a year and test it to make sure that we actually can recover your data. You know, once again, we have emergency support. We have the ability to manage your network traffic, encrypt things. Any of the high-end security stuff that needs to be done, we can definitely do that. We also have preventative maintenance. But I think the real, when you take a look at the value we bring is we're very strong on security, very strong on disaster recovery, and we help people come up with a plan that says if something was to go down, how long would we be down? What is the mean time to recovery? You know, because it may be that something here on site isn't available, and even if something's getting backed up somewhere else in the cloud or whatever, it may take a week to download all that data. Is that good enough? So I mentioned preventative maintenance and the monitoring, security. So, you know, basically the question is, you know, can you afford not to increase your uptime and your productivity and security and reduce risk? So as far as what I kind of felt like the next step would be for us would possibly take a look and do an assessment of your current IT infrastructure and just come back to you with a report to say, hey, here's some areas you're doing well, here's the areas where we see some risk, and then kind of talk about if that's where, you know, if it's enough to be actionable or if it's something that creates enough concern it needs to be fixed sooner rather than later. And from that assessment, we come up with an executive summary, and after discussions there, we could come up with a proposal. You can prepare a bid, whatever it is that you feel is necessary at that time. So, any questions about that?
So is your proposal to eliminate the 2 other IT people? I wouldn't make a recommendation on that right now because I don't have enough information to say that's working or it's not working. What I'm proposing is for us to do an assessment so that you have all the information you need to make a decision such as that.
Where are you located?
I'm located out of South Bend, but we have branches in Fort Wayne, South Bend, Maryville, and Grand Rapids, Michigan.
So if we needed a technician,
Depending on what needed to be done, it could be either our Fort Wayne office or our South Bend office. 90% of things can be handled remotely nowadays, just because technology is such that, you know, if your internet got cut, then obviously we'd have to bring somebody on site. But depending on which of our care plans are, we have unlimited on-site service. So,
you would report on need.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, if there was a need for us to be there, absolutely. You know, we have response time guarantees just like we do on the managed print services, so that if, you know, there's an issue with a server we can't fix remotely, then we guarantee X amount of response time. 1 hour remote, you know, we will deal with it via remote within an hour and 4 hours on site, guaranteed.
I think when we talked, one of our biggest concerns was actually security concerns. And then disaster recovery was our big two major concerns at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, we can do an assessment that's focused on that alone. I mean, we don't have to do an entire network assessment. We could take a look at, you know, currently what is your backup disaster recovery plan? I would look, you know, if it's in writing, I'd love to see that. And then for us to be able to check it and say what is actually occurring, what's being backed up, is that the most effective way? And then run it through scenarios. If this happened, what's the mean time to recovery? So, and I actually think that might be, rather than an entire county-wide assessment, that may be a good place to start.
Now, is that across the board? Is he doing that for the stuff that Preferred takes care of, and Jim takes care of? I don't know enough here to ask the right questions.
Yeah, I guess we really haven't talked about that, whether it would be for the Sheriff's Department and Prosecutor's Office, as far as, because we're working with the two different companies.
Sure. I would have no problem looking at both. It would be up to you. I don't know how it came to be that you have two separate companies doing it. I don't know enough about that. So
Welcome to our world.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just that the prosecutor has the juice to do what he wants to do. I don't know, and I probably can't change that if that's the case. But you know, taking a look at it wouldn't necessarily. It wouldn't be something that I couldn't do unless somebody at the prosecutor's office said, no, I'm not interested. And then, you know, whether or not we had to live with it, if that was the case. So, I mean, whatever the scope is, we can